topics for today. Spring, setting up all the things, then dependency injection, IOC and AutoWAD. Okay, someone is recording, so good. So this will be our basic concepts. Okay, so first let me open up my STS Spring Tool Suite. Then with this, let me create a Java project. So don't want a Java project, directly create a Maven project. Go to others. You can directly create Maven project over here. Click on next and you can click on next. Inside this, let the artifacts get loaded. Just wait for a second. Once all your artifacts are getting loaded, here we want to create a simple web application. So we'll create a small web application over here. So let me search for this. Yep. So Apache.maven. So inside this Apache.maven, just go and click on web app. So we'll be creating a web app, a simple web app. So let the group ID be new and let the artifact ID be Spring. Okay, so it can be small also, it is not a problem. Let us say Spring 5. So here we'll be working on Spring version 5. Previously we had version 3, version 4, and currently the running version is 5. So we'll keep this in mind and we'll go with Spring version 5 itself. Okay, so this will be our base package, new.spring. So artifact name is nothing but your project name and group ID will be your base project name. So total will be your package. So let me create this. You can see here it is building up. I got my project as Spring. Okay. Now let me once go into this. Let me check what is the error. We have an index.jsp error. This is not to worry about this right now. Let me go to pom.xml. So in this pom.xml, we can see a few things. One, the properties. Here, Maven compiler, the source and the target. Here, whatever it is, this is our version of JDK. Okay. Currently, I am using JDK 16, so it is giving me as 1.7. Here you may have a different number. Okay. Here I am using JDK 1.7, so it is giving me this. Otherwise, it would give me a some totally different one. Hope you understand that. Got it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now in this dependencies, we are having a couple of dependencies over here. This dependency is our JUnit dependency, but currently we don't need to work on our JUnit, that is for testing. Okay, so let me cancel this. Okay, currently we need to add some dependencies. So the question over here is, what kind of dependencies do I need to add? Okay, so first thing, let me open up my Chrome. Let me search for some dependencies. Just in Google type Maven dependency. Okay, now here there are a couple of websites over here. You can directly go to mavenrepository.com. So this will be our official one. Okay, in this, just click on, in the search, just search for Spring. Okay, you see over here there are couple of Spring dependencies. We will use maximum of these in our ongoing lectures. So first thing is, I need my context. Okay, so first let me copy up my context dependency. This is the dependency. Just click on this, copy it. Once you have copied it, go to this, paste it. This line is not necessary. If you want to delete it, you want to delete it, or else just format it. Okay, this is one context. Same way, we need some more things. not only context, you also will be needing the core, Spring Core. So this will be your latest version, and since you are using, see, if you are using Maven, you copy this. If you are using Gradle, you can copy this. Okay, just let me go here and then done format. So I have my Spring content and also I have my core. With this, since it's a web application, let we are also working with a servlet. So JSP servlet. Remember, there are many APIs, JSP servlets over here, Jetty, and we are also having a servlet API. Make sure that you download it from Java X servlet API. So the latest version is 4.0.1. Copy it to clipboard. Then you simply paste it over here. Done. Okay. So like that, not only servlet, we also will download the JSP also. This is our latest. Copy it and then paste it over here. Okay. You save it, it will automatically build. You have all the Maven dependencies over here. So this will be your dependency. You have our servlet JSP, servlet API, and all our Spring. Okay, that is how you basically do it. So this will be your complete setup. Got it? So inside this web app, this is basically not needed for me. I'll delete this. Okay, refresh this once. Okay, now these are all my libraries, these are all my Maven dependencies, and this will be my source. Okay, till now I hope everyone is clear with what is happening. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, now after this we'll start working on our basic understanding for dependencies. Okay, so first of all, what do you mean by dependency injection? Any First of all, what do you mean by dependency regular? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by dependency on a regular scale? No one's gonna tell anything.
Dependency means taking the help of another, which we cannot do individually.
Yeah, we can take the help of other one. Okay, that is the same thing we'll be doing over here also. We will be taking the help of Spring. Okay, for this purpose, let me start creating my projects over here. Let me create a package. So inside, let the name of the package be spring dot. Okay, why is this source folder this? What happened to my regular source? To configure project Maven update project spring. Okay, project has been updated. After this main, basically we used to have a Inside this, let me create a package. Let the package be spring dot interface. Interfaces package created. So I created a package called interfaces. So inside this, let me create an interface. So this interface will be cars. Okay. So I am having an interface called cars, and this will basically have a method, an abstract method, where I am calling it as specs. Okay. This is my interface. So after this, let me create another package over here. Let the package be cars. Okay. So let me say the package name will be spring dot cars. Done. So inside the spring dot cars, let me create a class. Let the class name be shift, and click on add, and then search for interfaces. We have an interface over here. We are using this interface. Okay, I am adding the interface to my class itself. When I add this, what happens is automatically the shift will implement this. Okay, so the specification of the shift is, I'm just telling that it's a shift car from Maruti. Okay, you can remove this override method. It's it's super type. The reason why I don't like STS. Has to be overridden. Let me save this. Fine, for now this is okay. I didn't save this. Let me save this. Let me put on override. Okay, now this is cool. Okay, save this. So I am having a shift car which is implementing my cars, and it is returning me shift car from Maruti. Same way I'll create another class over here. Let the class name be Corolla. This is also implementing cars. Done. Okay, now here I am just telling that it is a Corolla car from Maruti. So these are my basic classes which are implementing the interface car. Till now there is no rocket science in this. So let me go back to my Java, create a new app which is my runnable app. So let me say app, and let the package be Spring package, and this will basically contain my main method also. Okay, now so let's say cars shift, which is equal to new cars, or else new shift. Control shift O automatically import everything. So the same way what I'll do is I'll copy this, I'll paste it again over here, and I'll say this is a Corolla type, and then I'll put as Corolla. So system.out, first the shift dot, we have the specs method. Next system.out Corolla dot specs method. Okay, now let me save this. Let me run this as a Java application. Now I'm running this. Let me remind me later. Never remind me again. So we are basically having a shift car from Maruti, Corolla car from Maruti output. Till now we didn't do anything which is Not, we do not know. Okay, everything is the same thing. Yes, yes
Yes,
or
sir.
no? Till
Yes,
now,
sir.
everything you already know this. Okay, we have not done anything which you don't know. So now let's start doing something which we don't know. First thing we don't know is it's a spring one. So when it is a spring, always we need to create a bean factory. Okay. So now the question is, what is a bean factory? Okay. Bean factory is a factory where it will generate beans for our spring project. Okay. So we need to have this compulsion. So only if we have this only, we can basically create our beans. So what is a bean? Bean is nothing but an object which is handled by spring. And bean factory is the factory which is basically giving us beans for the spring. Okay. Now let me start creating that. To create the bean factory, first and foremost, we are telling it is a annotation based one. So inside the annotation one, just search for annotation config application context. So I am telling this, I am configuring my application with the help of annotations. So this is how I am creating a bean factory. So I am giving the name as context, which is equal to new, same thing. Okay. So here the next thing is, not only this, I must give a class to this application config annotation config application context, which is the configuration class. So let me create a class called app config dot class. So this is not existing. So let me create this app inside the spring class. That's all. Finish. I don't even need the main method for this. Now basically here I am having my application. Okay. So here this is my configuration class. But we know this, for the spring to know this, we give an annotation which is telling it as configuration. Okay. What does this configuration does? So this at the rate configuration annotation will tell that, so from here onwards, Spring is configured with a specific beans or components. So this at the rate configuration will tell that to the Spring. Okay. After telling it, we are telling it is a annotation based and it is consisting of components or beans. So even we have to tell Spring where should we look for those components. For that, we are basically having an annotation called component scan. In this component scan, give your base package. So here in this case, the base package is Spring. Okay. So I am giving the base package as Spring. Spring, spring.cars, spring.interface. The base package is Spring. So I am telling my complete application to search all the packages which are having Spring in it. Okay. That is how we are telling this the Spring that this is a component based and it is already configured. Okay. Till now, do you have any doubt?
No, Monish.
Okay. Open your mouth. Okay. It's nothing will happen. No diamonds will fall out on your from your mouth. Okay. So now we have created a context. What should I do next? So this context, what it is doing. So I have created a bean factory. Now let me start working on something. So here I have a shift, I gave it a shift. I have a Corolla, I have gave it as Corolla. Right. Now let me create something called as my car. So my car new shift. If I give like this and I put it on system.out, my car dot specs. So what I do is I'll simply remove this or comment it out for now. Okay. Now what is happening over here? There is an extra. Okay. Now let me simply run this application. Run Java application, always save it. Done. So now I have basically the same thing. Okay, but the problem over here is we are telling that Spring is a dependency injection. Basic, the Spring framework only works on something called as dependency injection, right? So here I am giving the object, so I don't want to create the object. Why do I don't want to create the object? I am telling it as my car, but I don't know whether it is Shift or Corolla. Okay, that is basically my wish. It can be any car, but when I am giving it as a new Shift, what happens is I can't change it in my runtime. Yes or no? This is hard coded. We should not hard code it. This kind of coding is called as hard coupling. It is called as hard coupling. Okay, or called as tight coupling. So this is not good because you can't change it in the runtime. So what we do is, instead of this, we'll try something else. So we'll take the help of context dot. So there are many methods over here. Okay, so from all this I am taking up get bean. Okay, so in this get bean I am giving a bean called cars dot class. So what is this doing? From the bean factory, we have created a bean factory. From the bean factory I am getting a bean. Okay, so when I'm getting a bean, but I have not configured any of these classes as bean. So first thing I need to do is, once I say get bean, I need to configure a bean over here. Okay, so here what I'm doing is I'm configuring my Shift as a component. When I configure my Shift as a component and when I run this, now you can see that without giving the name, without giving a tight coupling or creating an object for Shift, it is automatically telling us Shift car from Maruti. Right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
Sir.
Manish.
Okay. I hope you're understanding. If you're not understanding, ask me in the same point. See, here we created a bean and we named that bean as Shift, right? But there is only one bean, so automatically my car knows that there is one bean and it will get from Shift. What if I make the Corolla also as a component? I made this one also as a component. I'll save this, come back over here and I'll run this. Basically, it will give me an error. So let me see what is the error. The error is no qualifying bean of type cars. Very good. And next, it is expected a single match but found two. We are expecting only one, but it is having two. The first one is Corolla, the second one is Shift. So now what we are going to do is we are going to basically solve this issue. Okay, let me comment this down and then let me remove these both. Okay, now basically I am having two components, so I must get rid of this issue. This issue can be got rid by giving the names. Okay, first let me give the name of the Shift class. I am telling it this as a component. I am giving the name of the component as Shift. Just remember this, the class name with all lower cases. Okay, that will be our component name by default. And even for Corolla also I am giving the name. So let this name be Corolla. Save this, save this. Now come back over here. I am telling that get the bean from Shift. No errors. Save this and run it. So when I run this, now you can see that we are getting Shift car from Maruti. In place of Shift, if I put Corolla and if I run this, I need, yep. Now you see over here, I am getting Corolla car from Maruti. Got it? Now what we do is, I'll remove the names. Done. I'll save this. I'll remove this name also. I'll save this. I'll go to my app.java file and then I'll run this again. You can see that it is not giving me any error right now. It is working perfectly. So even if I change it to shift, it will work. The reason why it is working is the default names of our component are the class name with all lowercase. If you are using the same thing, then it is not a problem. But in case if you are using anything else, it will throw you an error. Okay, so the suggested one and the recommended one is use the class name with all lowercase. It will work absolutely perfectly. Got it? Now the question that comes into everyone's mind is, we are giving it here, we are telling that take it from the shift, right? So what is the use of using this, all this? I can directly, yes, I can directly use the tight coupling. I can simply say is equal to new shift or is equal to new Corolla, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the use of doing all this? That is the main question, right? For this, what I'll do is I'll take a scanner. System.h control shift O. So my scanner class is imported. Now I'll put a print statement over here telling that which car you wanna ride. Okay, this will be my basic question to the user in the runtime. Okay, after this I'll simply take up a string variable. I'll say name is equal to sc dot next. Done. Now instead of shift over here, I'll give it as name. Okay, now I'll run this. So which car you want to drive? So when I say shift, it is telling me shift car from Maruti. When I rerun this again, and when I say Corolla, it is giving me Corolla car from Maruti. Means, is it not automatically creating the object and calling that particular method with the help of our object? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible when we are doing with a new keyword?
No, sir.
It is not possible. So what is dependency injection over here? My car's class is basically injecting to a particular component a get bean, and it is directly giving me the complete object to run with. So my get bean is basically creating an object, okay, on whatever it is depending. So when I say shift, it is basically depending upon the shift class. When I say Corolla, it is basically depending upon the Corolla class. So both of this is not done by us, we are just answering its question in the runtime, not even in the compile time. Okay, and that is basically given by Spring. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is our basic
Yes.
advantage. Okay, understood. So now let us understand something called as inversion of control. Okay, so what is inversion of control? IOC. IOC is nothing but giving control to the spring. So it's just giving control to the spring. What kind of a control? Everything. Whether it be dependency injection or whatever it is, basically IOC is nothing but giving the full control to the spring. Before, what we used to do is we used to write a class, some T class, and then we used to create an object. TT is equal to new T. So We have created an instance for this, we have called upon our constructor, everything is done, and we are doing it like this. Yes. After this, we will do the operations. But in IOC, what we are doing is, first we are getting the bean. Okay. Once we get the bean, we are performing the operation. After getting the bean, we are checking for the class, which class that bean belong to, then we are performing the operation. Basically, we used to do this in this format, but now we are doing it in a reverse format. First we used to create a class, then create an object instance, then perform the operations. Now what we are doing, first we are getting the bean, that means first we are getting the object, then we are checking for which class is this object with the help of our annotation at the rate component, then we are performing. The operations have become reverse. First we used to create a class, then we used to create an object. Now the object is created first, then we are creating a class, then we are searching for the class. So the method is reversed. For that reason, it is called as inversion of control. The controlling style, it has been reversed, and it is reversed because the full control is given to Spring. Got it? That is called as inversion of control. Are we clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, no, something. If no, what is your doubt? If yes, we'll go to the next one.
Yes, Manav.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now this is done, right? Now we'll go to some important topic which is called as AutoWired. We'll just have a slight introduction of AutoWired and how the AutoWired is working. Okay, so let's go to Corolla. So inside this Corolla, what I'm doing is, every car will have an engine, obviously. So I'm creating an engine of type engine, and I'm telling, first let me create a class engine. Okay, this will not have any main method or anything. Done. Now this engine class is basically having something called as specs. Okay, so it is a public method, it is a return type of string, and it is having something called as specs. Okay, inside this specs, sorry, I'm just telling that it is of type, okay, I'm returning string anyhow, so let me return it itself, return v8. So I am telling Corolla is having an engine of type V8. Now what I am doing is, I am going over here and I am creating a variable called string specs, which is equal to, I'll copy this completely, or else I'll cut it completely. I'll paste this over here, and then I'll type it as with engine type plus, now I'm having an engine class and I've created an engine object. So let me create an instance for this. So engine done. Now simply I can, with the help of my engine object, I can call my specs method. Done. I am telling return specs. Got it? So now this will work perfectly. I think you all already know about this, right?
Yes,
Yes or
sir.
no?
Yes.
So this will work normally, it will work perfectly. But the problem over here is, we are creating a tightly coupled object again. But till now, what did we speak? When we are using Spring, the complete control is given to the Spring. But creating a method like this is basically not a good practice, right? So I need to basically invoke my dependency injection. So how do I do that? That can be basically done by an annotation called auto wired. What does this auto wired doing? Auto wired is basically connecting my class to its object. Okay, so here everything is good. Now let me run this. Let me save this first and let me run this. Automatically my app file only will run. Okay, let me go to my app file, run this. It is giving me an error. So let me see what is the error. Okay, the error over here is very simple. It is basically telling me that unsatisfied dependency expressed through engine means I basically told my auto wired annotation to map this engine class to its object, but I didn't tell where it should look for this engine class. So go to the engine class and just put a component annotation over here. So when I put an annotation for component over here and I go to my app and I run it, and when I call my Corolla, you can see here it is now coming as Corolla car from Maruti engine with type P8. Got it? What will the AutoWired do? AutoWired will basically map the class to its object with the help of AutoWired and the component annotations. Hope you're clear till whatever we have discussed till now.
Yes.
Yes, no, anything else?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
Yes, sir.
So AutoWired is not yet completed. Okay, AutoWired, there are too many things to be covered on AutoWired and all. So we'll do that in our next session. For now, just understand how the AutoWired works and how the Bean Factory works. Okay. So this is the importance of having the dependency injection. We can make particular changes in our runtime. Got it?
Sir.
Fine.